Today we're diving into the mystery behind a cancelled zombies Treyarch game developed before Call of Duty Zombies all the way back in 2004 that would have been a cross between zombies and Grand Theft Auto. Set to release in 2005, this game developed by Treyarch and published by Activision disappeared off the face of the earth. And in this video we're going to dive into what could have been and how instead Treyarch ended up with the cult phenomenon that is Call of Duty Zombies. Setting the stage back 20 years ago, this game was announced at E3 2004. Behind closed doors at Activision's E3 booth, demo sessions for Treyarch's new title, Dead Rush, a fast-paced action racing game that looked to have elements of Grand Theft Auto's open world with Resident Evil's creepy horror. This reveal trailer you're seeing is the only footage ever released for this game before it was cancelled. Now, for a bit of context, the game would have taken place in the town of Eastport, where a massive earthquake has destroyed most of humanity. You play as a character suffering from memory loss called Jake, and it's your job to try and figure out exactly what happened in Eastport, which is now overflowing with zombies. To put this into perspective, this was nearly 4 years before the release of Call of Duty World at War with its infamous zombies mode. So at this point, Treyarch were not thinking about Call of Duty Zombies, they were thinking about their own open world zombies game. Now, as mentioned, this game was going to be incredibly unique because the main claim to fame for this game is that the player would operate one of several vehicles scattered around the town as a means of transportation, but also to serve as a weapon to mow down the undead. The zombies would try to wreck whatever car Jake was driving, and the player could create new vehicles out of parts of previously demolished cars, really leaning into the idea of a Grand Theft Auto style open world game, but having to contend solely with hordes and hordes of the undead. Now, we can look at certain features of this game and look at how it inspired some of the more recent Call of Duty experiences, because up until around 2021, the idea of driving vehicles in a massive open world seemed completely alien for the Call of Duty Zombies mode, but that's exactly what we got in Outbreak in Black Ops Cold War. Outside of this gameplay trailer, there is only one hands-on article experience written by Douglas C. Perry from IGN back in 2004, who dives into a lot more detail in the gameplay experience than anything else documented on the internet, explaining that there's quite a deep backstory to the characters and the world, as the main character Jake wakes up on a beach with a handgun and a communicator nearby with no memory of what happened. The narrative would have unraveled in real time along with your hero, giving you the comfort that you don't need to know some deep backstory, and as you progress through the game, you'll discover what dreadful event had happened. Now, what is extremely impressive for the time, considering this is 2004 and releasing on PS2, Xbox, and GameCube, the game would feature very little load times, and after the initial boot up, the game would never pause to load data from the disc again, all due to Treyarch's proprietary engine that they were using to build this game. So considering that was 20 years ago, that's really impressive. Diving into some of the zombie types that were already fully developed in this game consisted of zombie-like humans to giant shambling four-legged dragon dogs that rip you apart with one solid bite. Definitely giving me some Hellhound vibes there. But as mentioned, vehicles played a massive role in this game, and you could drive any vehicle you saw, just like in Grand Theft Auto, and these cars are totally destructible and actually interchangeable with parts. So if a door had broken off your car, you can detach a door from another ruined car in the wreckage and place it back on your current car. According to IGN, the driving experience was actually pretty intense because you dealt with the streets rampant with undead humans and monsters who clamor for human flesh, and the monsters, being shamblers, chase absolutely everything, which meant they chase and fight undead humans, and they chase and fight other shambler zombies, which I think is a very unique thing that we still haven't really seen much of in modern zombies games, proving a very unique threat, because if they see anything that moves, they will go after it. They have zero loyalties. The majority of the undead zombies in this game will swarm at you, running towards the car, trying all their might to try and take you out. Most of them will get run over, but some would catch an edge and cling to the car as you drive, which gives me very heavy transit bus vibes in how those zombies work, trying to clamber down the windows and hang on to the bus as it's moving. And those shambler type zombies, well, apparently they will cling cling to the car, and they could rip the roof off the car as you drive around. Now, despite how the trailer perceived the open world, apparently there was going to be other humans that were going to be survivors around the city, being live human refugees who'd be stocked with resources such as health and ammunition. And you would join and be part of that surviving community where you'd help defend them as well. With one level showing wave after wave of zombies pouring through a broken boundary into a human refugee camp, and you and the refugee AI had to take down all of the zombies, but there was also friendly fire, so you needed to keep those other AI soldiers alive. It's all giving a little bit of a Last of Us / Walking Dead vibe, which I think is such a cool idea and concept, especially going back 20 years when that idea of zombie media wasn't so popular or really even a thing. And it also makes you think about these sorts of concepts and how they would work in today's Call of Duty Zombies, if these would be concepts in a round-based zombies map, for example, or if these are things that could be implemented into the open world Outbreak mode in the future. Who's to say that none of the things that were in this cancelled game were then repurposed and reused ideas that then got put into Call of Duty Zombies? Now, a very interesting mechanic in the game is that if you were progressing around the world on foot, the zombies were immune to everything but light, which is quite similar to what we see in games like Alan Wake. So it's crucial to have light flares and a flashlight around, and these undead will not stop until you blow their heads off. Just like how it worked in Call of Duty Zombies, you could choose which body parts to shoot off, but if they still had limbs remaining, then the zombies would crawl after you, and you would have to make sure that you finish off the zombies with a headshot in order to take them out. IGN finished their hands-on experience by saying that the game had dozens of main missions just like GTA, but also it had tons of areas to explore and submissions to complete. There would be rewards for side quests such as getting more ammo, armor, and even car parts. And as you progressed, you'd be able to upgrade your vehicle and add even more parts to it, such as better engine parts and turbos. Interestingly, IGN do critique a bit of the game, even though it still had a year until its release at that point. They said that it's a fast-moving game, but the art style was dark and plain, and visually it could use a lot of work. But what they did say is that it was one hell of an action game. It was meant to be a huge rush of adrenaline from the mad dash to a car, through the creature-filled streets, the camps, larger cars, and finally larger and more powerful creatures. And it really did sound like this really cool slice between GTA and Resident Evil. And what's interesting is, following on a whole year after when this game got revealed, Resident Evil 4 released from Capcom, which visually and style-wise in the same third-person view looks quite similar. It's crazy just to think of the potential of this concept for a game, because I believe if this game was created now in 2024, it would be a massive success. The idea of an open world game like GTA, but full of undead, is something that we've not really seen too much of. You could argue that Dead Rising series at the time really pushed the boat on a sort of open world zombies game where you're putting weapons together through various parts, but an emphasis on vehicles wasn't really a thing until the second and third game. But it's crazy to think that this would have been Treyarch's first ever forte into a zombies genre type game, and to think if they did go ahead and create this and released it, who knows, they may not have made World at War Zombies, and we wouldn't have gotten Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies that we've all loved and enjoyed for nearly 15 years now. It's a scary alternative future to think about, but that really could have been a thing. Let me know what you think about this concept of a video game, and would this have been something you would have wanted in 2004? And is this a game that you want to see in 2024? If you didn't know this game existed, you need to let me know by clicking that thumbs up button. If you want to learn about even more secrets about Treyarch, Call of Duty, and video games, be sure to subscribe and check out this video on your screen right now.